Hello, if you've just joined us, you're watching Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, with me, Sharaad Kuttan. Earlier today, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin announced that most business activities will be allowed to resume on Monday in what he now calls the conditional MCO. Citing a 63 billion ringgit loss under the MCO already, Muhyiddin claims the decision to loosen the MCO was made to stop the economy from losing another 2.4 billion ringgit for every day the MCO continues. Joining us on the line now to discuss the implications of this announcement is Tan Sri Dr. Kamal Salih, Chairman of the Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, or MIER. Tan Sri Kamal, good evening. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Now, do you think this decision to broaden the list of economic activities will mean that the economy will bounce back to pre-COVID or pre-MCO levels?
It is timely, but I don't think it will bounce back all the way to the pre-COVID-19 days. But because most forecasters, independent analysts, talk about this year being recessionary. But the opening that is decided under this conditional MCO is in that sense timely, because I think further extension of the MCO would under very strict conditions, would in fact not be good for the economy as they calculated, the MOF has calculated, we lose about 2.4 billion a day. So this is good. I think it should be done. But of course, the condition that we all businesses and employers and businesses are able to maintain their discipline over the question of SOPs and so on.
Can I ask you about the issue of the damage that's been done? So we know the cost and and I don't know if you dispute it yourself, but to the extent that has been the cost, what sectors or specific sectors might be able to bounce back better than others? Is there irreversible damage in some sectors of the economy, do you think?
I don't think it's really irreversible, but there has to be adjustments, of course, because we are talking about a new set of conditions or a new normal where there will always be the virus around, and we have to continue to be careful. But the opening is important, opening of the economy is important, because we ourselves in MIR had forecasted for March 28th that the damage, if we continue that lockdown, is about 98 billion altogether from our total income. So this is what the MOF has come out with, is therefore quite close to what we anticipated. And we always said that we must be, we should try to find the right timing to reopen the economy. And this is what I think the government has done.
Tan Sri, can I ask you to zoom out and look at the big picture? I'm wondering, to the best of your knowledge, does this government have an economic roadmap for the post-crisis impact?
I think the Prime Minister this morning did outline about 5 strategies, including to increase the resiliency, and finally the 5th one was to restructure the economy. I think the government has, I think, a good sense of what needs to be done. I know he has got advisors, and I think in our own projection, the economy should be coming back by the 3rd quarter, and not necessarily to the same level, but at least a recovery that could set the stage for a big leap in 2021, which we anticipate will be a high, will recover back and in fact go beyond the 2019 level.
Tan Sri, to what extent, considering the way Malaysia is positioned within the global economy, our location in supply chains and such, that national governments have a real effect on the fate of our national economy, considering it's so globalized? Can these plans actually make sense on the ground for businesses and the national economy?
Yeah, I think there's of course this COVID-19 and the recession, and in terms of the world growth of trade and investment, there will be adjustment. There will be, of course, winners and losers. And I think some of the advanced thinking that we ourselves have, we think that we have the means, if we make the right decision, to enjoy the adjustments that globally that is going to take place. Already there is announcement of some relocation from China and by some of the big players to other locations, maybe not necessarily all the way back to the United States, for instance. But Japan has already set up about $2 billion worth of incentives or support to bring back some of the Japanese corporations in China. And most likely, some of that will flow out as investments in this part of the world. And Malaysia is well positioned because of our infrastructure and so on. But there should be more adjustment, more addition to our infrastructure. And that's where quite a lot of the future investment from end of this year should be towards continuing, of course, our big items like the ECRL and so on. But then we have to be more of those that would allow us to exploit the reviving global supply chain and logistics and so on. Our position, our geographical position is quite strategic because we are part and the center of ASEAN, for instance.
Well, you give a fairly optimistic, or you seem to suggest there's light at the end of the tunnel. Perhaps we could be the winners rather than the losers in this game. But tell us, with regard to the capacity of the state to actually fund some of these big infrastructure projects, with the falling price of crude, the question of revenues diminishing as a result of the MCO and such, do we have the capacity? Does the state have the capacity to make those investments you talk about?
No, the state. Basically, the government doesn't have enough fiscal space to initiate things on its own, but by providing incentives and encouragement and proper licensing and so on, approvals in a timely manner, we can catch some of those foreign investments coming in. And I also have been collecting, accumulating quite a lot of intelligence in respect of new projects that want to come into Malaysia. But given the current problem, they are all standing by. So should the thing turn around, towards the end of the year, I think we are well positioned if the government is accommodating to accept these new investments, especially in infrastructure.
All right, thank you so much, Tan Sri Kamal, for speaking with us this evening. Now we're going to take another quick break, but after this we'll hear from Think City about the new ways we'll be using public spaces post-MCO. Stay tuned.